Hey everyone, it's Jeff Cohen and welcome to Business Opportunities Live. And as you can see, I've got two of my favorite people with us, Todd Gurvis and Cohen. We're going to get to them in just a minute, but I want to just share with you how amazing of an experience that I'm currently having with how business is going. I don't know if you guys are having the same experience I am, but I know there have to be some folks out there that are finding that COVID-19 has us working from home more hours than we thought we would, creating more opportunities for people than we ever thought we'd have. And I'm personally involved in starting 4 new companies during this period. Like, they're cropping up out of the woodwork. People are wanting to start companies. And oftentimes they're a little bit of a pivot from where they're at in their current business. And that's great. And sometimes it's something completely different. Like, someone's finally saying, you know what, my business is just getting killed, but I want to go do what I really wanted to do anyway. So I invite you guys, really take a look at your life, really look at what's working, what's not working, and how you have it go. Because what I'm clear on is that, when you can hear background noises here, because we have some construction going on, what I'm clear on is that we have a robust economy. We went into this with a robust economy. People have money and they want to spend it. Most importantly, they want to have security. So if they're going to spend their money and they're entrepreneurial, they're starting a new business, and the new business meets the requirements and the needs of the new economy that's showing up from all of us being in quarantine. So this weekend, I'm working with a company that's out of the Green to Gold incubator organization, and we're taking a look at how to get them started and funded. You guys may have companies that you want support with like that. Reach out to me. That's what I do. I help people get money in order to run their business and grow it. So with that, I want to jump back to our crowd and say, hey, thanks guys for indulging me for a minute. And let's start out with Todd today. Hey, Todd, can you give us a little update? I know there's a bunch of stuff going on throughout the world, in the Far East with China and other, what's been the impact in the market because of all that?
Well, we had a bit of a hiccup in the middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, in the market with the larger companies, the large cap, multinationals, which affected the Dow, affected the S&P 500, because nobody knew what was really going to happen in terms of the China trade deal. But the reality is, if you look over the week, the Dow is up, the S&P 500 is up, the NASDAQ is up. Today alone, both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ went up, and the Dow was just very slightly down, essentially flat. So the market just kind of did what it's been doing for weeks now, which is just shrug it off and keep going. NASDAQ's been on a tear since the beginning of the year, despite the hiccup in February, March. So it's not a bad time to be in the market, Jeff.
Okay, well, that's great to know. Thank you. And I know that as you do.
If I may, I have a question for Todd. Is that when the investors look at the different indexes, the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, and on some days, some of them go up and some of them go down, how are the investors, supposed to deal with its seemingly contradictory numbers in the indexes?
Good question. I mean, first, you need to understand that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is 30 stocks, period. So you will often see the broader index of the S&P 500, big, billions of dollars market cap, will continue to go up or down while the Dow does its own thing, because it's only looking at 30 stocks. People talk about the Dow a lot. The NASDAQ versus the Dow and the S&P 500 is talking small and mid-sized companies versus large companies, and they act differently. So the real answer is going to be, if this is your long-term money, this is money 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out, you don't care what happened today. You just don't. So I tell people not to put too much stock, if you will, in what one index did on one day, unless it dropped 20% in a day. You don't need to be panicking about the 1-day shift.
So was that meant to be a pun, Todd?
Sure.
Well, good. So listen, I promoted today that today we were going to talk about the PPP and the Congress and how they're passing a new bill. And we invited Gene because Gene's been following this. Todd, I know you've been following it, and frankly, I'm always here learning from you guys. I can just tell you that I opted out of the PPP and took the EIDL. That made more sense for my business. Now, Gene's my accountant. He's going to tell me that I'm crazy. I should have taken the PPP because now it's going to even get easier to get the money back. I know that's what you're going to say. So, Gene, talk to us.
Well, number one, Kate, not all businesses and not all owners are the same. So if your advisor, suggests a path for you, but you think there's a better one that works for you, then the client always right. Okay, because we're here, Todd and I are here to offer advice and counsel, but it's always the owner's responsibility to make his decision. We're only here to help. So going back to PPP, a bill has just come out of Congress, and once again,
Come out of the House. It hasn't come out of Congress.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
It's come out of the House. It hasn't come out of Congress.
Out of the House. Well, okay. Break it down to Congress and the Senate. It's come out of the House, and once again, they're modifying what they told you was going to be. That's the nature of the House and the Senate. The high points in the bill are that under the current rule, you had to spend 75% of your PPP dollars on wages. The new bill will allow you to drop that to 60% and use the other 15% to pay business expenses. They've also changed the payback rules. So don't forget, initially your PPP is a loan from the government, and they gave you 2 years to repay it. In the bill that passed the House, they're now going to give you 5 years to repay it. The other thing that they've extended is, as the PPP stands now, you have to spend all your money in 8 weeks. They're now extending it out to 24 weeks in which to spend your money.
How far?
And well, it starts the day you got your funds. Right now, where it is, it's at 8 weeks, and it's still legally at 8 weeks. It won't move to 24 weeks until it becomes law, and then it'll be 24 weeks. But as it stands now, have to spend all your money in 8.
One quick thing.
So if it goes to 24 weeks and somebody has,
I have one
so
question.
if it goes, yeah, I just wanted to clarify something. So if it goes 24 weeks now, so what they're saying is, if you spend the 75% of the money, which is now being proposed to be 60% on payroll, that money can be spent over 24 weeks, not 8 weeks.
Yes, once it becomes law.
So that basically means that odds are you're going to use that money up probably for payroll and not other items. If you're talking about
that's going to vary business to business.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
The thing I wanted to interject in there, Gene, being we have a CPA on the line, is, well, kind of 2 points. You made a point while we were backstage, as it were, getting ready, where you made the point of it all depends on how the rules are made up by the government, not so much by what Congress sets, but what the agencies like the SBA and the IRS decide of how they're going to implement it. But there's also a tax consideration in terms of the loan forgiveness. I know you talked about this several weeks ago. in terms of how the IRS may view that loan forgiveness.
They're still working on the regs. So there haven't been a final set. Okay, typically what the IRS does when the issues come up, they will put out temporary regs. It says, as of now, this is how we interpret the law. Once they get themselves together, they put out final regs, which is basically, this is now how it officially is. Okay.
This is the law.
I haven't seen a final set of regs that are finally going to put this thing in proper order to deal with tax-wise. And now that this bill is through the House and may become law, the IRS is going to sit down and rewrite the regulations again to conform to the new law.
Right. Now,
so there's always change that's going on. And until this thing finally settles, in other words, if this is the final bill and these are now the rules for dealing with PPP and forgiveness, and it's set, the IRS will come in, issue their final regulations, and say, this is now how you do it. And then we're going to take those rules and apply them.
Right.
And that's basically how this will work.
And the thing we probably need to keep in mind, all of us, not just you and I, Gene, is, of course, it hasn't gone to the Senate for a vote. And the one thing we know, now look, we know, quite astonishingly, 417-1 on that vote yesterday by the House, which means the House Republicans, not just the Democrats, were driving this. They were all in consensus except for one single solitary vote. And it was co-sponsored by a Republican and a Democratic, congressman each. But here's the thing: is we know when things go to the Senate tinkers with it its own way, and then it first goes to conference before it's going to come back at us. So it may look entirely differently. I don't think it's going to be a lot different, but there will be some changes.
It'll be different, and it'll look different when it winds up on the president's desk for signature.
And he can write a signing memorandum, which makes it even more different.
Right.
Awesome.
But it doesn't change the law.
Right.
Okay.
It just guides the agencies we were talking about, how he wants it administered.
Yes. And just as a quick side here, the IRS today issued some new rules. Where they got them from, I don't know, but they went and issued them, and it deals with employees who have benefit plans. Under the law now, once a year, you make your decision of how you want to fund your 401k and your health plans and whatever it is that the company offers you. In lieu of the changing economics in the country, the IRS today said that employees who have these plans where they work will be able to add, subtract, or alter their benefit packages. All
Correct.
very nice, except, like always, there's a fly in the ointment. You can only do it if your employer agrees.
Correct. And
before you get all worked up and say, oh, I'm going to rush down to HR and I'm going to fix this and fix this, you got to check if your employer will allow you to do it.
Correct. And while nothing's written in stone, my anticipation is that's something that's more going to impact people like us, people who are small business owners. You are not going to see GE and Apple and IBM and so forth making changes on a regular basis to their plan and approving for thousands upon thousands of employees.
No, it's not the corporate. It's not the corporate plan. Okay, it's the employees.
Right, but that includes the health plans and the 401ks.
Oh, yeah,
what they're putting out. And as you said, it's going to require employer consent.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to impact health plan as much as it will impact, do they want to deal with this on the ins and outs of 401ks, SEPs, and so forth?
That we'll have to see since the rule just came out.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Awesome. Wow. So this is quite a topic. People are really dealing with stuff, aren't they?
There's lots out there.
It's a moving target, Jeff.
Totally got it. Well, good. So kind of to wrap up a little bit today, what do you guys want to say in closing to everybody? What advice do you have for people?
From my point of view, is that the rules are really changing, and your planning strategies should also change. So as the rules move, keep reviewing your tax situation, your income, your deductions, and basically strive not to give your money to the government.
You know what I hear, Gene, is what I really hear is advice for people to take their finances more seriously now than ever before. To, if they don't have a controller or a CPA or a CFO in their company, to be working with the one that they do on a quarterly or annual basis, and be flat on where they are and know where they are so that they know what to do. That's what I hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you can't know everything about what's going on in the world, especially today, because it changes just about every day.
It does.
Seeking advice from an advisor to help guide you is would be my recommendation.
100%. Awesome. So with that, I want to thank you guys. This is a quick Friday afternoon. I hope you guys are enjoying the beautiful weather. Thank you so much. And I want to invite everyone to like and follow the C-Level Roundtable page. Please share this with people. A lot of important information about what's going on in Congress got shared today. And Todd, thanks for your insight about what is happening with the market. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. On next Friday, I want to let everybody know Celeste is going to join us. We're going to move the call from twice a week to every Friday. Make it very simple. We're going to touch on restaurants and finance for general business as well. It's my pleasure to host these. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend.
Have a safe week.
Take care.
Bye now.